All right, what's happening, everybody? This is the Philly Experience podcast. Back with you guys today in person for the first time, and I don't have the exact number on me, but it's been a long time. It's been over years.
It's been too damn long.
It feels like it's been years and years, but no, it's great to be back finally in person in a little makeshift type studio here / bedroom, which is awesome. Tanner, appreciate you letting us come down and
yes, sir. Glad to have you guys here.
Yeah, awesome, and T, appreciate you bringing all the equipment. This is not the most ideal, but better than Zoom, and just to get us in person and get that feel back that we used to have in the actual studio.
Just so you know, there's a surcharge for me having to hook all this shit up. I'm just gonna let you know that right now.
I'll double that and say there's a surcharge for renting my room.
Yeah, see, I don't have a rebuttal for that because I don't have actually didn't even set anything up. So credit to you guys for what I just said on my phone.
He literally sat here and looked at us as we set everything up.
I can't argue that I did indeed, but only because I had no idea what the hell I was doing. All right. So the people don't want to hear us talk about that the whole time. Of course, let's talk about the Birds. Let's start with them. Of course, the regular season's coming up. September 9th, Cowboys, Buccaneers, and then obviously the Eagles open up at the Atlanta Falcons on that first Sunday of the NFL season. But right now we have to touch on the cuts. Obviously today coming up 4 p.m. is the deadline for the cuts of the team, and there's always been some notable ones already. Not particularly with the Eagles, but obviously the biggest news of the day, Cam Newton has been cut and released by the New England Patriots. Mac Jones will start week 1. Let's relate back to the Eagles now and touch on a quick move that they did earlier today, which was Matt Pryor traded to the Indianapolis Colts most recently. And then also just your expectations of maybe the wide receivers we can dive into about who you expect to be cut there. I know Arcega-Whiteside had a pretty big touchdown grab. Is that going to be enough to maybe save his roster spot, et cetera? So in your guys' opinion, do you think that going into this season, going into these cuts later on today, what to you may be the biggest surprise of the preseason, and then also maybe the most disappointment or the biggest disappointment of the preseason player wise, like somebody you had expectations for that really just didn't pan out?
Yeah, man, everybody pretty much lived up to my expectations. So there was really no surprise in terms of cuts. There was really no surprise in terms of, just how the roster pretty much shaped up. Now, I will say one surprise. I do agree with you that catch by Arcega-Whiteside, I think definitely saved his ass because he was on the way out. All right. Even with Travis Fulgham not exactly having the best of training camps from what I've heard. And, obviously him playing against the Jets, dropping a lot of balls, just looking just completely out of shape, just completely looking like a non-essential wide receiver. Even him going through all of that, even still, like that was a shocker to me because I still expected Travis Fulgham to still make this route for Arcega-Whiteside, regardless of the fact that Arcega-Whiteside is a former second-round pick, but he's had all these years to get himself together, but he hasn't. And now all of a sudden, it looks like Arcega-Whiteside has found himself, and I'm shocked. I'm happy about it, but I'm shocked at the same damn time. But it's about damn time, as LeBron James once said. Where was this play at? Where was the jump? Like that catch against the Jets was exactly what he was drafted for. So where the hell is this coming from now? And I think what separates Arcega-Whiteside from the rest of receivers is that he's the big body receiver that the guy's going to go up and grab that 50-50 ball. Everybody else is pretty much speed guys or possession guys. So his play style on top of his obvious play in the preseason, I think, is what elevated him.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't agree with keeping Arcega-Whiteside. I think that spot could go to a more valuable player. You have him for what, two or 3 years now on this team, and now in the preseason game is when he proves himself. Before the regular season even starts, you have him 2 catches, 57 yards. I believe that's his stat line for the entire preseason. And for me, I mean, how many chances did the Eagles give Arcega-Whiteside? Because now you have a player on the practice squad that misses out on a starting spot or gets more game time. You have a valuable player that's probably going to get stolen off the practice squad. There's many players that are going to the practice squad, except for you have going to defense now. Jaquette, who is no longer on the team, which at the beginning, before preseason started, before the Eagles made that necessary move for Steve Nelson, you have people saying that he was going to be a starting cornerback. And I'm glad things panned out the opposite way. Unfortunately, he had to be cut. But, you look at this team now much better than what you had going into the preseason.
Yeah, no doubt. I think one of the things I want to touch on here, just as far as the J.J. Arcega-Whiteside thing goes, and I keep calling him J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, but that's just what I'm used to calling him.
It's Arcega, man.
And also, he doesn't deserve for me to get my shit together with him because he's been an absolute embarrassment. And I personally think he's a terrible player. I really liked him. If you listen back to the podcast when we first started,
you were the only one.
I really liked him coming out of college. I thought, just like you said, see a big body receiver go up and get a kind of guy in the red zone. He didn't prove that at all. Not saying he got a ton of opportunities to do it, but we've seen and heard reporters in practices and things like that, really no progress with this guy. And now you think because he makes one catch against the Jets, second and third stringers, he's going to make the team now because of that?
Well, also just look at the decline in Travis Fulgham starting from the previous season. All right, he had those 4 or 5 weeks where he was the best receiver in the NFL. And the stats prove that. And then all of a sudden he drops off. And Doug Peterson kind of alluded to it in some of the press conference where he was saying, there's times when Travis Fulgham is not exactly the player everybody's piping him out to be. He's not really putting up, he's not really putting in the practice that we really expect from him. And now we're seeing the results of that. Like, there's a reason why this guy was drafted, I think, in the 5th or 6th round. There's a reason why he's a journeyman now. Like, this is the ultimate reason why. The potential is there, but I'm not going to keep a whole roster spot for a guy who doesn't deserve it. Like, I'm just not going to fucking do it.
I agree with you. I think this is one thing I want to say. I think the Eagles receiving corps is probably one of the worst in football. Thank God we have Devontae Smith, who I was really surprised with him not playing a ton in the preseason. I wanted to see more of him. I know he was banged up for a little bit, but I think all because he was a phenom Heisman winner in college doesn't give him the right to just basically sit out. And it's not his decision, of course. It's probably going to be the general manager's decision as I fix my audio here.
You're always screwing something up, Max. God, dog it.
Overall, I want to say this to the people who are still listening and haven't tuned out yet, that I thought Devontae Smith should have played more in the preseason. I thought Jalen Hurts should have played more in the preseason. But at the end of the day, when we talk about Devontae Smith in college compared to Devontae Smith now in the NFL, do you guys think that he should have played more? Just not only to get experience, but in my opinion, it's almost one of those things where I won the Heisman Trophy. I played for Alabama, one of the best teams in the country. Do you guys think that because he was so great in college, did that have something to do with him not playing, or because he's really getting the star treatment already to begin with? He's not getting that I'm a rookie, I'm going to fight for reps, even though I'm a high pick, I'm still going to get in there and battle. He's getting that I'm a starter type role. I need a rest. I'm going to get ready for week 1.
Yeah. So going on that, and this is coming from just going to one preseason game. I went to the second one against the Patriots, where Devontae Smith could actually play. He was off that injured list, and fans were excited to see him. And when he came out, there was a couple plays thrown to him. Now, albeit it's Joe Flacco that was thrown to him.
There you
the
go.
Entire game, you wanted to see Jalen Hurts out there with his wide receiver. Wanted to see how that connection was going to continue from college. But you have Devontae Smith, who ran his routes correctly. Now, Joe Flacco overthrew, and then some situations there was an underthrow. You put him in bad situations. A young wide receiver who's skinny like that, you put him in a bad situation where you have 2 defenders just almost colliding at the same time with him. It's not a good look. But for Smith to be of the talent that he is with the first-round pick. I mean, look, you have Jamar Chase. How many catches did he get this preseason? I don't even think he notched up 1. But now I could be wrong. I'll check with that after. But you have Fonte Smith, who really proved himself in college, even with that thumb injury in the championship game. And I know people want to see him, but it's much better to wait, see him in the regular season than see him in preseason. He impresses, but gets injured, and then you're out for 5-6 weeks without a top wide receiver. And we all know how this team did without a lot of wide receivers last season. It wouldn't be a good look.
Hell no, it wouldn't be a good look. No, and I understandably so. Look, I understand everybody's frustration. I understand, everybody wants, look, I think of Whiteside, honestly, the way he played in this preseason, he honestly gives you the best chance. He straight up does. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no getting around it. I think of Whiteside is the number 6 wide receiver, and there's no getting around that. Look, I'm shocked just as much as everybody else is. I am just as shocked. I am just as taken aback. I am just as surprised. But look, it was either, what other choice do you have? Okay. Greg Ward didn't exactly pop. All right. I didn't exactly see Greg Ward this offseason. You're not hearing any writers writing about him or anything like that. So, like, what do you expect? What do you expect? And look, in terms of Jalen Hurts, and I'm all for Jalen Hurts. Look, in terms of him, God damn it, Max, you always mess us up.
It's because this is but back to who were surprised with the cuts of who didn't make the final roster cut, which was made today. All NFL teams are implementing their who they cut, but you have Holyfield, who I liked his play the final 2 games of the. Thank you for turning that noise out. I'm sure the listeners appreciate it as well. But you have Holyfield, who was just a dog in the last 2 preseason games. You have him playing as I mentioned last show, the LeGarrette Blount type of role. Obviously, you have Jordan Howard, who is more likely going to play that role when you have actual games going on. But the Georgia running back, Holyfield, obviously Evander's son, he is probably going to be on the practice squad. So he's a player that we might see again on this team. But is there anyone else that you guys highlight from preseason that you were surprised didn't make the cut of this team, or who do you think is going to be back?
You know what? Nobody really surprises me. This was a really simplistic roster. So nobody really surprised me in terms of, who's going to come in and, who necessarily made the team. Nobody really surprised me outside of our thing of Whiteside, to be honest with you. Everybody pretty much, was up to expectations. That's just me personally. Michael Jacquet ain't worth nothing. All right. That was horrible. All right. I understand this is preseason, but that man's been giving up plays like crazy for the longest. Like, the way he gave up that touchdown was just absolutely ridiculous. Like, and I'm sorry, like, he got playing time towards the end of the season, and I'm just like, dude, what the hell? Like, his freaking, he's not an NFL corner, and it does not surprise me that he's not here. It doesn't. It really does not surprise me. And in a way, this roster doesn't surprise me because this team is really in the rebuild. Like, I'm really going into this season with low expectations because this is really a young team who's trying to find themselves, and that's ultimately what this season is really about. They're a young team trying to find themselves, and you know what? We have to accept that. Not only do we have to accept that, but we also have to understand that and go into the season with that understanding. And with that understanding goes with, we can't come up in here every week fussing and complaining about the results of how the game went down. And that's period.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to go back to Jamar Chase because I brought it up. He actually did. He had 1 catch for 16 yards, but he has a major ball drop issue that's going on with the games that some of the team media over there in Cincinnati is concerned with. His drops. Now, I know Philadelphia definitely has history with wide receivers.
We're not even going to talk
really
about
just drop the ball all the time. But Fonte Smith, just 2 catches, 19 yards. So people that are concerned that they did not see enough of Devontae Smith, I just want to go over that again. Would you rather him get injured in the preseason potentially than see him in actual game mode, regular season, where it really matters the most, where you have Jalen Hurts now? Certainly QB1, which is where we're going to transition next. This quarterback talk that
I was about to
T
say,
and I were kind of getting into before the show started. Just go over what you were saying to me, and I'm going to jump in and say my piece of mind.
All right, so look, here's the thing. If you guys were under a freaking rock, here's what's going on. So I believe this happened Saturday. Apparently, the Philadelphia Eagles traded their 6th-round pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars for the rights to Gardner Minshew. Okay, look. He was not brought in to be a backup. You know what he is? He's in just in case of Jalen Hurts failed emergency, break open this glass. That's exactly what Gardner Minshew is. Say he's not. You know what exactly what he is? He's your Lord and Savior, Nick Foles. That is exactly what he is. Say I'm wrong.
You're wrong. He is not our Lord and Savior, Nick Foles. Max, come on. I can't be the only one on this boat here. You have Gardner Minshew, who was dropped by the Jaguars because Trevor Lawrence is now QB1 definitely in Jacksonville. In no means was this a plan for, here's Gardner Minshew. He's going to be our QB1. Now, I'll tell you what, if you're afraid of Gardner Minshew taking over Jalen Hurts' spot as QB1, we got bigger problems. If you think he's going to come in and he's going to be better than Jalen Hurts, then this team is in a very bad position. But the reason was that you have Gardner Minshew, who's available. We suffered as Eagles fans watching Nick Mullins play quarterback for the Eagles in those preseason games. You have Joe Flacco, who is now
up and down.
He's in the rear view.
I understand.
Gardner Minshew is a very good quarterback to have at QB2. Remember when he took it by storm, Minshew mania, when Nick Foles was out week 1. And he took the reins, and Jacksonville just didn't think he was the starter, which he's not a starter for a team that wants to make a playoff push, certainly, but he is a decent quarterback to have in that QB room. And I think that, you know what, and I don't want to talk about this really, but if there's an injury, God forbid Jalen Hurts goes down with an injury, and you have Gardner Minshew looking at you, you're in an all right spot to stay afloat. I should say, with the talent you have at wide receiver, running back depth, this defense that's going to be better than the last couple seasons. You got to be a little more positive.
Yeah, but also look at it like this, though. What happens? God forbid Jalen Hurts starts struggling. What are these fans going to do? You know exactly what Eagles fans are going to do. They're not going to cry for Joe Flacco.
No, because Gardner Minshew is better than Joe Flacco at this very moment.
And Joe Flacco's the slated number 2 quarterback. So
not for long.
Yeah. How long? That's
trust me.
So what's the point of having Joe Flacco around?
The point is the money, and you have Joe Flacco, who's over there being able to teach these young quarterbacks like Gardner Minshew and Jalen Hurts, especially, how to be better quarterbacks. Now, I know their play style is a little different, but it doesn't hurt to add a player like Joe Flacco into the quarterback room, especially.
I think Joe Flacco is terrible.
Yeah.
And we can all agree on that. Man, this audio is ridiculous.
Coming in hot, Max Gratzola.
But I want to say this, if I can, if we can keep. All right, perfect. This might be the best it's going to get. If the reason I want to say this about Gardner Minshew real fast, Joe Flacco was brought in before that whole trade obviously went down. Right. I don't know the scenario with it back then. Like the argument could be why didn't we go after Gardner Minshew for a 6th-round pick before we got Joe Flacco and guaranteed him like $3 million? You know?
Yeah.
So I don't know why that is. Maybe you can give more insight on that. Possibly as why. I mean, I don't know if it has anything to do with let's see Trevor Lawrence develop, or I don't have anything to do with him, or maybe Urban Meyer thought maybe he's cheap. We'll keep him as a backup quarterback. Plans change. Obviously.
Yeah, to clear it up. I mean, let's make it obvious that Gardner Minshew was not really available when we got Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco was bounced around a couple times. He was with the Broncos and the Jets, I believe, in that order, maybe the other order. But you have him where you're looking at a guy, the free agency really wasn't a thing for the Eagles this offseason. They didn't have a lot of money to spend, but they spent it where they needed to. You're talking about Steven Nelson over here.
Yeah.
A couple great pickups, but Joe Flacco, that was in the offseason. You have Gardner Minshew, who Trevor Lawrence was recently named the starting quarterback. So you don't want to drop your QB2 just like that and not know if Lawrence can fully play in the NFL right now. But that's the reason that it happened now. Now, all said and done, if Gardner Minshew was made available in the offseason, I think the Eagles would still pick up Gardner Minshew. I mean, what were we talking about? A 6th-round pick?
Here, listen, I'll say this. I think it's kind of strange because we always, like, not us personally, but people, fans of Philly, make the argument, why would you want to cause another QB controversy?
Yes.
I think
that's ridiculous.
The Jaguars, and I'm not, obviously we don't know, but in my opinion, I'm thinking to the Jaguars the way they are thinking. And it's probably, we have our phenom in Trevor Lawrence. Behind him is a guy with experience who has multiple starts, obviously, in the NFL. I think it's like 20 or 30. Obviously, in their opinion, they could think, does Trevor Lawrence, not that he's mentally weak like Carson Wentz is, but does he want somebody that's been the starting quarterback for a year right behind him? Is it going to mess with him at all? I think maybe at the end of the day, the preseason took place, right? And the Jacksonville saw what they had, what they liked, what they didn't like with Lawrence and even Minshew, whatever. And they said, you know what, 6th-round pick, it's not a big deal. I'll get rid of Minshew and we'll give him to the Eagles. The thing for me is I like the deal only because I shouldn't say I like it, but I don't hate it. And the reason being is because it's cheap. You have a backup quarterback. Joe Flacco will not be here after this year.
No, it's true.
And it's going to be a very cheap deal. The Eagles don't draft well, so the 6th-round pick is based. I'm not saying it's meaningless, but based on track record and history, they really don't hit on late-round draft picks, and it's proven. You're going to see today a lot of people won't be on the team that were drafted. Like Jacoby Stevens probably won't make the team. And who was the nose tackle from USC that they drafted in the 5th or 6th round? He won't make the team probably. So I like the deal from that sense. I don't think Gardner Minshew is a starting quarterback. You guys both know that I'm not a huge Jalen Hurts fan. A lot of the Eagles fans, they want to bank on. I'm not saying bank on Jalen Hurts, but they want to believe in him. I want to believe in him as well, but I don't long term. Same thing with Miles Sanders. A lot of people want to see Miles Sanders as a true workhorse. I know he won't be. I know that there's going to be a rotation with Gainwell, Boston Scott, and people need to start to come to that realization now that Miles Sanders, when he came out of Penn State, pegged as a three-down workhorse back, I haven't seen that volume, and I haven't seen the coaching staff use him that way. At first, I thought maybe it's just the coaching staff and how they're going to use him, but maybe he's just not built that way. He's not built like Derrick Henry. You can give him the ball 30 times a game. I thought maybe Doug Peterson, when he was fired, maybe they're going to use Miles Sanders that way. They did the complete opposite. I thought Sirianni might use the running backs differently. They went out, they drafted Gainwell, they kept Boston Scott. They're probably going to keep Jordan Howard on the team. So there's going to be a rotation there, and I'm starting to wonder, is it the Miles Sanders not getting that workhorse opportunity, or does the coaching staff just believe that he's not that kind of player? Not to say he's not a bad player, just not to say he's not the guy we thought he would be.
The issue is Miles Sanders, one of the big things about running backs, especially in today's NFL, is they need to be pass catchers. Past couple seasons, and including a couple times during the preseason that we've seen, and from what we've read from articles written by guys who've gone to training camp, he's still dropping balls out of the backfield. Can't do that as a running back. I don't care what offense you in today's NFL. Just can't do that. Miles Sanders is a hell of a runner, a dynamic running back. One of the best running backs I've seen in terms of vision, in terms of juking ability and breaking tackles. Look, I think Miles Sanders has all the tools. He can even pick up blockers in pass blocking. But the issue is he struggles at times with catching the ball out of the backfield. And that is a cardinal sin in today's NFL. You cannot do that. There is a reason why they have put so much stock into Kenny Gainwell. Okay. And there's a reason why, and me and you were both on record of saying this, that Kenny Gainwell is probably going to take over the number one running back spot soon. I would not be surprised to see that.
I love Kenny Gainwell. My favorite Eagle. My favorite Eagle right now.
All right, you a little too. You're going a little too far.
It's in the mail right now.
because I don't believe Jalen Hurts is jersey worthy right now to be a long-term starting quarterback here.
Right.
Miles Sanders in a contract year, I expect him to probably have a good season, but the volume, I don't know if it'll be there. And then the only guy you can probably make, I mean, outside your Fletcher Coxes and your Zach Ertz, who's still somehow is on the team, surprisingly. You look at who's the guy that you has some upside besides Devontae Smith. I think Kenny Gainwell's legit now. He's not like me. T talked about it. I say that he's going to be the number one guy just because I like him so much. He's not built like we talk about that number one true running back, like that workhorse, that even like a Clyde Edwards-Helaire who's small in stature, but still like the main guy there for the Chiefs as a first round draft pick. I'm not saying that Gainwell's going to be that kind of guy, especially being a fifth round pick, but I just like his pass catching ability. I like his route running as a running back. Not only out of the backfield, but almost as like a slot guy too, like a Curtis Samuel type. You saw Curtis Samuel when McCaffrey went down last year for the Panthers, run the ball out of the backfield multiple times and line up in the slot. Kind of that dynamic player that can line up all over. That's why I like him so much. I think Jordan Howard arguably might be the best pass blocker on the team. I don't know how he's going to do in special teams if they're even going to use him in that role, but that's why, you have your home run hitter in Sanders, you have your great pass catcher in Gainwell, and you have Jordan Howard, who's a big physical north-south runner that can pick up, edge rushes and blitzes and things like that. So.
And not to mention, when you have Gainwell back there with the starting lineman, offensive lineman. Now, of course, we've seen it a couple times in the preseason, but we're talking about regular season Gainwell, and they're out there all the time. You got Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert over there blocking as well. Of course, Lane Johnson and Kelsey. I mean, these are guys that should really get the credit holding that lineup. But just to go back to, so we can wrap up this quarterback controversy talk and move into some baseball talk potentially. I know T's wearing his Phillies shirt, which is
I'm wearing it, but I still don't give a damn. But go ahead.
He's not on boat anymore.
I'm not.
But anyway, this quarterback controversy. I understand if you're looking at the side of Jacksonville with releasing Gardner Minshew, a guy who started for the team. There was an uproar for him. Fans bought his jersey. He was QB1 for quite some time. Then you have the number one pick, Trevor Lawrence coming in. That's a quarterback controversy because Lawrence has yet to play a regular season game for the Jaguars. And sometimes teams like to rest their first overall pick quarterback if they don't think he's ready for the situation. That wasn't the case for Lawrence because he is a talented player. He's always been since high school, middle school. The media has been following this guy.
See, in my opinion, that's not really a controversy because you saw the cap that Gardner Minshew had, and Trevor Lawrence was coming in with a winning pedigree. You know all the accomplishments that Trevor Lawrence did at Clemson. All right, there is no controversy involved. You draft somebody at number 1 overall, he's starting. I don't care what position he is. I don't care who's there in that position. Whoever that number 1 overall draft pick is, he's automatically starting. So the minute the Jaguars got the first overall pick, Gardner Minshew already had his foot out the door.
Right. And that's fair enough to say because, we disagree with the controversy part, but you have Jacksonville really making it a point, which the Eagles failed to do season after season, making a point who their starter is with dropping Gardner Minshew, having him out there. The Eagles pick him up because there's a guy who has started in the NFL in recent time, won a couple games. You have Joe Flacco, who, he won the Super Bowl, but that was years ago. But you're basically paying Joe Flacco to be a coach on this team for young quarterbacks. Nick Mullins, he had to go, thought he would be a good third string quarterback the way we saw him play in San Francisco. Didn't work out. It was ugly performance out of him.
I'm sorry. I never believed in Nick Mullins, especially the fact that a struggling Carson Wentz led Eagles beat Nick Mullins in that last season.
Right now. We're literally sitting here talking about Nick Mullins.
Yeah. And I wish we didn't, but we had to. But you have
it's sad to think about though, like how and me personally, like I'm just not I said on our show when we came out with our record predictions, 10 wins. But I could not be more down on this team right now. And it's to wrap everything up with this topic. It's such a make or break year for so many things. Like there's not only question marks, but going into the season with this team, like last year, it was like going through, and I'm not gonna say going through the motions, but it got to that point during the season. This year, whole new coaching staff. I think the receiving core is weak, but we've seen Sirianni in training camp almost like practice, like physically doing reps and stuff like that out on the field to help these wide receivers. Running back, by committee, obviously we know that. We'll see if the offensive line can stay healthy, and I think the defense will be improved, especially the secondary. I hope, but it's going to be one of those seasons, in my opinion, where you really have to analyze things. You can't like for me. This is how I'm just reacting. How I'm going to watch.
Okay.
Like analyzing, meaning like seeing the routes, seeing the play calls. What down is it? How much? What's the yardage? Like little things like that to just learn because we've been so accustomed to Doug Peterson for so many years. Right. And I just want to see what changes. It's not. I'm not going to be sitting back. I guess to sum everything, I'll be like, oh, as a fan, just cheering and seeing them score points and stuff. I really. I'm going to look and see. Okay, like what's Sirianni trying to do? Like what players are talented? What are we going to see? When are they going to run the ball? Who's out there on what down? The third down is Sanders going to be out there? Is Gainwell going to be out there? Just all those different things play into it. So it's like exciting, but at the same time, I got to pause because I know in my opinion, there's probably not a lot of talent on the team. It might not result
to a ton of wins, but I'm just staying optimistic. That's all you can do.
No doubt, it's a prove it year because you have, if your quarterback doesn't work out, you have more to deal with. How many picks are you going to trade for a starting quarterback then, instead of if Jalen Hurts works out, what positions can you put around him to really make this team successful in the following season?
But at this point, I just think the Eagles just love controversy, man. You don't make this type of a trade without knowing what you are doing. You know that this is going to cause a controversy. The minute Jalen Hurts starts to struggle, they're going to start chanting Gardner Minshew's name.
That's Philadelphia, T, because you had Nick Foles. I was at this game opening the home opener for the Eagles. It was about maybe 5 seasons ago. Nick Foles is on the team. This is when Nick Foles was on his first run with the Eagles. And
27-2 year.
Was it against the Falcons? It was against the Panthers, maybe. But you have Nick Foles comes out, throws an interception the first drive, or however, there was a fumble turnover. Immediately, fans are chanting for Michael Vick to come in. I believe that was the situation, or the second string quarterback, whatever that was. But that's always going to happen. That's Philadelphia, T. That's Philadelphia football for sure.
I want to say this too, real quick. The move for Gardner Minshew for me is not about this season. It's about next season. Under contract, super cheap. Joe Flacco won't be here. For me, I think look at last year. Look at Sam Darnold's injury for the Jets. Joe Flacco steps in, and the Jets were absolutely abysmal, even worse than they already are. I think they won, 1 or 2 games last year, and the game against the Browns didn't really count because the Browns were destroyed with COVID. So I think the move for Gardner Minshew is, number one, if things go south with Jalen Hurts, physically, I'm talking about health, or statistically on the field production, you have a capable guy to come in, step in, and at least not be the joke of the league like the Jets. Maybe amount to 4 or 5, maybe even 6 wins. Still, Gardner Minshew being serviceable quarterback. If Jalen Hurts succeeds, hopefully meets expectations or goes above, then you don't really need to talk about it. Things are going to go on next year. This year's going to happen. Then Joe Flacco will be gone off the books with his money, and then you have Gardner Minshew on the cheap next year to back up Jalen Hurts. But my whole thing is if Jalen Hurts has less than 1 season. He's got less than 1 season.
Only 4 games, basically.
Last year, too. I'm talking about this year. Jalen Hurts himself won't have 17 games. If it gets to week 6 and the Eagles are 2-4, 1-5, Jalen Hurts might not be the starting quarterback come week 7. That's the shameful thing, not only for this city because we're so hard on our athletes, but if things go south that quickly for this team, he won't have a full 17-game season to see what happens. It's going to be Gardner Minshew. I don't think Joe Flacco, me personally, I don't think Joe Flacco sees a single snap unless things go way wrong. It's Gardner Minshew's job as the backup quarterback.
I got a hot take right here. I think Jalen Hurts is going to prove himself week 4. Week 4.
Like, what do you mean? Like breakout performance? Like this guy's legit?
Week one, we're going to see some glimpses. I still need to see more out of him. You got week 2, maybe he has an off game. I know I have to really look at the schedule, but I'm just going through numbers and how long it would take him to warm up. But if we're going on the Birds schedule, you have the Falcons, Niners, Cowboys, and Chiefs. Now that Chiefs game is important because the next week after that, I believe you got the Panthers and Buccaneers. So, and those are the Chiefs is a home game, and then the Buccaneers are also a home game. So I think Jalen Hurts warming up to the city, to the link, I think against a great team. Obviously went to the Super Bowl. Then you have the Super Bowl champion after that. I think this is where he's going to prove himself.
How much
as a value?
How much though? How much? And here's the thing: they got 3 first-round picks next year, which is what I'm saying. So what level?
2 if Carson Wentz don't get his shit together.
Fair enough. What level does he have to get to for Howie Roseman to sit there in the office and say, "Okay, I'm going to take these 3 first-round picks and go wide receiver, D-back, defensive tackle"? Like if he meets expectations. Is that or plays like solid? I'm talking about solid, like maybe 7, 8, 9 wins, but doesn't go, wow, holy shit, this guy is legit. Like
I'm thinking
to get that quarter because they could take a quarterback next year. Is my point.
For Howie Roseman, I think the decision is going to be made on not wins and losses, but Jalen Hurts' passing ability, because that's really what needs to be proven this season.
We know he can run.
How far can he throw this ball accurately? Can he hit his targets on point? No overthrow towards the sideline, just get it out there, no checkdowns. I want to see actual tosses, which we missed from Carson Wentz, really. There was all this talk, show the people what they want to see. Unfortunately, Deshaun Jackson was only in there for 2 games, but that's in the past. Yeah. Jalen Hurts is going to prove himself.
Give people what they want to see.
Exactly. By the improvement he shows passing. And you have, hopefully, it won't take Howie Roseman until the offseason to know who his starting quarterback is, because then you're just going in a loop again and again, and you're going to have a lot of people just dropping off the Eagles bus, getting out of here. And that's going to suck, Max. Yeah, that's really going to suck. But I see where you're going here. You have Gardner Minshew, who is
to come in and be serviceable if you need him.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. It's not a quarterback controversy. I don't think Gardner Minshew is going to come to Link and just show everyone he deserves to be the starting quarterback over Jalen Hurts. And I hope that doesn't happen, because you have Jalen Hurts, a guy who you took the deal on. Obviously, you had to get rid of that Carson drama, but you could have. Now, it was Deshaun Watson's. It was his choice to not do the get rid of the trade clause or whatever that was.
So thankful.
Which really helps out with the drama between the controversy, which I thought that was over with weeks ago. But in the offseason, Max, if you have Jalen Hurts who struggled, those draft picks are going to be made on a quarterback, and I think it's going to be a trade, not a draft. Okay. I think it'd be a trade.
Not for Deshaun Watson.
Not for Deshaun Watson, no.
Right then. I think
there's always a problem with a quarterback in a team, so some other players could be made available.
Yeah,
no doubt. And Cam Newton, the name that's not for the Eagles. I'm saying for maybe the Texans. I heard rumors about that because they don't obviously necessarily buy a Tyrod Taylor. Right. Blah blah blah. But long story short, Jalen Hurts, I think we're excited for it.
Also,
of course.
Go ahead. I just want to add a little more. You have the Dolphins who are interested in Deshaun Watson. That means Tua could also be available as well. Now that's a quarterback and not proven on,
I'm good on
of course, but I'm sure other teams would like to take a shot at Tua now if Bridgewater doesn't work out in Denver.
Right.
Which they have a mess of a quarterback situation as well, and not in a good way with talent, just the lack thereof.
Yeah, listen, I agree with you. And to sum everything up here, it's just we have 2 weeks away until the season starts.
Yep.
Obviously, the quarterback position is going to be magnified. The coaching staff is going to be magnified too, just because everything is new everything, offensive, defensive, head coach, and things like that. Defense, I probably won't be, because you kind of have, you had Hargrave been really solid in camp. Fletcher Cox has been solid. Brandon Graham, BG, you know what he's going to do on a defensive line. So overall, Eric Wilson, linebacking core is a linebacking core. They're not going to be highlighted because they're just not in this defensive scheme. At least last year with Schwartz. We'll see what happens this year with Gannon. But and then you have, of course, the secondary, which should be improved. Ryan McLeod was activated off the PUP list, so he should be able to come back in the first couple of weeks of the season too. So I'm excited about the defense. I think you're going to be solid. When I say that, I don't mean like top 5 in the league, maybe top 10, 15. But the offense is key. They need to score points. And the fact that they play these tough teams early on in this season, it's going to be extremely hard to get
it
that.
Is.
But we'll see what happens. And I want to, because we're running out of show here almost in a way.
Yeah.
I want to touch on the Phils here and just obviously they go to Arizona, they go out west. They lose all 3 games out there, and it's kind of like everybody hops off the bandwagon. But we know how it works here in Philadelphia. We know baseball. You guys know me, number one with baseball, and you know how baseball is a 162 game season. So it's not football where you lose 2-3 weeks in a row and your season's basically in a way over, unless you make some serious improvements. Baseball, you can drop 3, 4, 5 in a row, come back and win 3, 4, 5 in a row. You got 162 games to work with. So with the Phils going out west, losing 3 straight to Arizona, taking 2 out of 3 from San Diego, and then they come back home, they don't play well. That first series, and who did they play in that first? Tampa Bay, right? They lost both to Tampa Bay, and then play 3 and then win 3 out of 4 from Arizona. So it's one of those things where we know that the Braves, who me personally, I thought their season was over once they lost Ronald Acuna Jr. In my opinion, I just thought he's too much of an offensive fire piece for them to come back from when he went down. But overall, we know that the Braves have the better roster. The Phillies need, and this is what I banked on this whole time. Okay. I banked on the schedule. I saw the schedule. You got the Cubs on there. You got the Rockies on there. You got the Diamondbacks on there. Late in the season, you got the Marlins, who are terrible. The Nationals quit. You had all these teams on your schedule. That is what I put all my stock into, because on paper, we know the Braves are the better team. We know there's people now, they're saying, oh, look out for us in the wild card race. The Reds are better than us. We know that. These Padres are better than us. The goal here is to win a division. We have to win a division. I don't think we're going to get that wild card.
Not getting the wild card.
Right now, exactly. It's so weird because right now we're actually closer to the wild card than a division race. I think we're 3 out of the wild card and 3.5 out of the division, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll have to look. I thought we were a little farther back.
Oh, really?
It could be updated.
Okay. So what you're going to need to bank on here is, you're not as talented as the Atlanta Braves, but what you're really going to need to do is hopefully your schedule plays out in your favor. starting pitching has been great. I mean, since how great has Kyle Gibson been since he came into the rotation? I mean, he's been absolutely excellent. And then Ian Kennedy, who's given up a little bit too many home runs for my liking. But at the end of the day, this thing's going to come down to the wire. I think we all knew that. It's just about us, the fan base, just the constant. It gets annoying after a while. Does it get annoying to you guys? The constant off the bandwagon, on the bandwagon. I mean, you gotta just be patient.
I got my seatbelt on, Max. I'm locked in on the bandwagon.
Well, for me personally, I've always been a straight shooter. If I tell you I'm off, and I'm done with something. I'm done with the Phillies, and I've said that. I said that last
Phillies jersey, mind you.
It was the first thing I grabbed in my damn closet. Shut up. Anyway, look, I'm done with the Phillies. Like this constant up and down roller coaster. It's the same damn thing that we've been going through for the past 2 seasons. We get towards the end of the season and it looks easy. And then boom, the entire doggone floor drops from under them and they don't make the playoffs. It's the same thing over and over again. I've seen this for the past 2 seasons. What's going to happen this season? I guarantee you they're not making the playoffs. They're not. I'm sorry. If you think for 1 second that this season is going to if you think that this season is going to miraculously change, you're crazy. You got another thing coming. I'm sorry, but history has proven what this team does for the past 2 seasons. It's the same damn thing, and I'm so shocked that y'all not seeing this.
T, I'll tell you what, if the Phillies make the playoffs, let's do a little bet here. If the Phillies make the playoffs, you got to walk in a WIP studio wearing them stupid Fanatic hats that wrap around your cheeks. Stamp that right now, because I'm saying the Phillies are making the playoffs. I don't care if I'm wrong, but I'm telling you, I'm still on this bandwagon.
And just so you know, if you're wrong, I'm blasting you on all our social media.
It's not that I'm a bandwagon. I mean, I've been a Phillies fan my entire life. I'm just on the wagon, and I'm just full sending it right now because I'm not getting off. I don't care if they don't make the playoffs. I'm not jumping off, of course. But you have the Phillies who now, T, you mentioned how the road's always rocky for the Phillies going down this stretch, but it's a little different this time because last season you had the Phillies who looked like they were making the playoffs at this point right now. And then that's when things started falling in. But luckily, the Phillies have had experience with collapses already in this season, especially a series ago. And now I think that they have enough time to build back. Now, they're 3.5 games back. And Max, you're right. They're 3 games out of the wild card, but they're not getting that wild card spot, in my opinion.
So please,
convince me.
And tell me,
last show, you have the Braves who have a tough schedule. You have the Padres on their schedule, I believe, twice, maybe. No, I know they have a full. I think it's a 4-game series with the Padres. You're looking it up. They're playing the Dodgers right now. Then they have the San Francisco Giants. Then they have the Philadelphia Phillies somewhere in there. Now this isn't in order. I believe they play the Marlins as well, but that's the division game. You can never predict how those things go. Am I right so far, Max, with those teams?
They still have to play. So they still have to play the Dodgers until Wednesday night. So right. 2 more. They got tonight and tomorrow.
That's
night.
2 games that they could lose to, and you're back just a game and a half.
Then they got the Rockies for 4 on the road.
Not an easy team, right?
You never know what happens in Colorado. That ball flies out of that ballpark. Then they got the Nationals and Marlins, but the Phillies have the Nationals and Marlins again. Exactly. So that evens out. But then the Braves have the Rockies again after that. So they play a couple shitty teams, but they still have the Giants on their schedule. They still have the Padres on their schedule. They still have the rest of this Dodgers Steelers. They do have the Diamondbacks.
And is the last series for both of these teams, the Braves and Mets is the last series for the Braves. But before that is the Phillies. So this could potentially turn out to be a playoff type atmosphere at those games because you have prove-it games where you're having the Phillies really have to show it to the Braves that they're getting that number 1 spot.
They've had prove-it games. That first Arizona series was prove it. You have a chance to not only were the Phillies number 1 in the division at that point, they had a chance to grab a stronghold. Why wasn't
the Padres series a prove it series when you're playing an actual good team? Why just pick a series that they lost to?
I'm just pulling something out my ass right now.
I know you are.
Shut up. Anyway,
statistically speaking, in recent history, they just don't play well when they go out west. Not many teams do. But Arizona, they got our number right for that series. But then we went 2 out of 3 against San Diego. So for me, I think is the Braves schedule hard enough that it's going to matter for the Phillies. It's definitely harder than the Phillies schedule. I will say that. But there is a couple of easy series like the Marlins. They're terrible. the Nationals. They got the Rockies twice. They got the Diamondbacks once. So they got some easy matchups too. If I'm going to sell UT on the Phils making the playoffs, their starting pitching has been excellent, especially since Ranger Suarez has come into the rotation and Kyle Gibson's been great. We'll see about Zach Eflin. Major question mark. Will that knee be healthy enough in September to come back, or will he be shut down for the year? Hoskins is clearly a big loss for the rest of the season. If Bamboo Bragg can just keep hitting homers out of his ass like he did last night, it'll be great, obviously, to just give you some momentum. And also, you got to remember the Phillies have the MVP on their team. Bryce Harper's
potentially.
MVP.
What is an MVP if the damn team doesn't make the playoffs?
Look at the numbers.
Still MVP.
Look at the numbers. They got the best player in that. Like, don't give me Fernando Tatis. That dude's been banged up. He's been hurt. They got the best player this season on their team, and he's literally dragging their asses.
Baseball isn't a one-man team.
Yeah, well, the Phillies have become a one-man team with your potential MVP because Max is right. He is literally dragging the Phillies at this point. And if you think for 1 second that one damn man can drag an entire baseball team, you got another thing coming.
That's what I'm saying. Like, look at this right now. JT's still hurt. His shoulder's banged up. You just need, with the starting pitching being as more consistent as they've been lately, you just need every night. You need Segura to give me a couple hits and score a couple runs. Another night, Odubel. As long as Bryce is locked in the way he is, you just need Brad Miller. Like Brad Miller last night, boom, a home run. What was it, a solo or 2-run shot, whatever it was. I mean, little things like that. You got to get some.
It's the utility guys
too. Same thing. Like
the utility guys that really need to step in.
You don't got to do it every night, but somebody step up and do something. Because hopefully, big picture wise, you're going to get a good start from your rotation. Even though Wheeler didn't even have that good of a start last night, and we still got the W.
Right.
So you should have a good start for the most part. The bullpen has been middle of the pack. Ian Kennedy's been pretty solid. Alvarado, since he's come back from the IL, has looked better, a little bit more consistent in the strike zone. They got a couple. JD Hammer all of a sudden he's an ERA under 2. I mean, this guy's throwing scoreless outings. So their bullpen hasn't been atrocious like it's been last year. So what you really need to do is find the hitting. Can Freddie Galvis come in and get on base here or there? Maybe steal a bag. Maybe they get a wild pitch. Like, little things have to go your way. Wild pitch, you score a run. You just got to manufacture runs in ways that maybe aren't just hit a bomb every single, like the Yankees and just hit home runs. You got to have little pieces step up.
Yeah, Chase Anderson had to go. By the way, he had to go.
I completely agree with that. But that's the thing that I've been begging for this entire season. Everybody was going out and try to, hit the damn ball as far as they could. But how about playing some balls in the field every once in a while? How about going opposite field for a base hit? What's wrong with some singles and some doubles?
Well, I got news for you, T. We got back-to-back triples. What, last game? 2 games ago?
Yeah.
I think it was 2 games ago.
Torres,
yeah, it was. Yeah.
Oh, was that last night?
I was about to say. I thought it was last night.
I think it was last night.
It was last night.
Yeah, it was last night.
But guys are putting the ball in play, T. And you have a team. I got 3 teams for you. I got the Pirates. You got the
Rockies.
The Rockies, the
Rockies.
Orioles.
Yes.
There's 4 teams. I know there's another team in there that.
Well, you got the Marlins and Nationals right now.
Right. The Phillies team, they can handle this. You're talking about just 3.5 games back now. Now a series or 2 ago, we're looking at 7.5, and we're like, this team's done, over with. Baseball is done for Philadelphia. But here they come again, because you have people like yourself saying, I'm off the bandwagon. You got all these games left to play. You already jumped off. You broke your ankle jumping off the wagon. You can't get back on, T. You're done for. Now, when the Phillies make it to the playoffs, I don't want to see you wearing no damn Phillies jersey, no playoff shirts from Dick's Sporting Goods, nothing. I don't want to see nothing like that except for that stupid Philly fanatic hat on your head when you walk at WIP, talk to Howard Eskin with that stupid hat on.
Well, first and foremost, this is the first thing I grabbed out of my closet. Thank you very much. All right. And it's actually very cooling on a humid day like today. So let's get that out the way right now. Secondly, I'm not going to be wearing no damn fanatic hat because the Phillies aren't making the damn playoffs. And I'm going to die on this hill if I got to.
Okay, stamping that. We got audio receipts for that.
The thing that's going T's way here is just the inconsistency. Can you buy into this team winning enough games down the stretch, becoming they don't even need to become a consistent team, just more consistent than what they've been, because you cannot just go out to Arizona, lose 3, and then beat San Diego 2 out of 3, lose to Tampa Bay at home both games, and then all of a sudden win 3 out of 4 from Arizona. I know that they're a better home team than a road team. Usually most teams are like that. And I think they're, 11 games above 500 at home, but they have a losing record on the road. So you're going to need to win baseball games on the road.
Here's the sick part. Here's the sick part. It's not just, you guys just hoping that the Phillies can win a division. I've seen a couple of analysts who's actually got the Phillies projected to potentially win the wild card. I'm sitting there going into the wild card. I'm like, you've got to be bleeping kidding me. You guys are crazy as hell. There's no stinking way that this Phillies team makes the playoffs. Max, you alluded to it. It's the freaking consistency for me. You cannot lose a series, win a series. Lose a series, win a series. You cannot continue to play 500 baseball.
I bet you can do that because that's exactly how it's going to work.
You cannot play 500 baseball and make the damn playoffs. And even if you do make the damn playoffs, how far are you really going?
You're making, at this point, T, for the Phillies, it's just make the damn playoffs. You guys, since 2010, I believe.
Yeah.
That's the last time you're in the playoffs.
Yeah, something like that.
It's not to win the World Series this season at any means. It's to make the playoffs, show you have a playoff caliber team. So in the offseason, you can build off of that, trade the players that helped you a little bit, but you can get value for. And you're looking at the bigger picture, and that's the future in about 3 years.
Let me mention this real quick. One guy that we really forgot about, rightfully so, the way he was playing. How about Alec Bowm in the minor leagues?
Yeah.
You know, that really, I mean, he had that home run on opening day. Well, I don't know if it was opening day or maybe the second game of the series against the Braves. And it was like, wow, Alec Bowm, like this dude is, because he was so hot last year. And it's like,
it's ridiculous.
6'6", 6'7". He's got the frame. He's supposed to have the power. But
in the running for rookie of the year,
you see a guy this year who comes in, he can't pull the ball. I mean, I don't think I've seen him pull one ball this year.
I was about to say the only thing that kept him in the majors was his hit, but once the hitting went, because his defense wasn't worth a damn.
Yeah.
So the question now with him, he was supposed to be plugged in as in the middle of our order with JT and Bryce and Reese as a guy that's going to contribute. I'm not saying he's going to hit 300, but definitely give you maybe 25 homers, drive in maybe 80 RBIs or 70 RBIs. We knew his defense was awful. I didn't think it was to this extent. I at least thought he could feel the ball properly, being a major leaguer, and throw it across the diamond. But unfortunately, he just doesn't have that grace. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, he's not graceful with his movements as a third baseman.
He's stiff,
and he's not even like I keep using the word serviceable. He's not even just middle of the pack, middle of the road type of defensive third baseman. Not only that, he wasn't even hitting enough to keep him on, not on the lineup, on the roster. He wasn't hitting enough just to keep him on the roster. He gets into the minor leagues. So that's a guy that's hurt us. And also you look at Rhys Hoskins being done for the year. I mean, we haven't mentioned it, but this guy, he came back off the IL in San Diego, had that 2 home run game.
In 3 games, yeah.
And
you can thank your manager for as to the reason why he's out for the year.
He pushed him back early. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he put him in. Yeah, he put him in, had him swing those couple of dingers, what happened was he ended up tearing his groin.
His groin, and he also had an abdominal injury. Are they 2 separate injuries, Sander?
Yeah.
Abdominal and
he had an abdomen injury and a groin. I believe that's the last injury right now.
But he's getting surgery on the abdomen, right? I think he's getting.
It's a hernia.
Hernia?
Sports hernia?
Yeah, it's a sports hernia.
Yeah.
So is that all connected? Or
I believe so.
Separate?
Well, no, right now he's out for the abdomen. But I think since he's out, he's getting that
sports hernia.
Oh, okay.
I think. Now we'll have to check after the show.
But either way, Girardi shouldn't have played him. Girardi should have kept him on the bench. Girardi should not have put him in the first damn place. I don't care how desperate you are to win these games. And I understand you're trying to make the playoffs. I completely understand that. But you're putting your players at risk.
The DH has not been in the National League probably hurt the Phillies more than any other team. You have Alec Bowm, who can't play third base. Rhys Hoskins, who, let's be honest, really wasn't that good of a defender at first base. And then you had Brad Miller, who this is a guy that was last season hitting a ton of home runs for the St. Louis Cardinals, hitting in the middle of their order. And you think, okay, now you got him as a bench piece. But there's 3 guys. I mean, Miller's okay. He's a utility player. But there's 3 guys right there that are not good at playing first base. And they tried Alec Bowm at first. They literally did everything they could to let Alec Bowm be productive. They kept him on the roster, got him the at-bats even when he was struggling, and they gave him over half a season to just continue and to try to improve. He couldn't play third base. They tried moving him to third or first base when Reese was out. That didn't work out. He can't play defense at either of the corner positions. So it's either the question is he gonna put in the work this offseason at third base, first base, wherever it may be, to get better and be able to come back. And let's not forget, his offense wasn't great. Every time he would get a hit, when he wasn't striking out, I should say, every time he would get a hit was a poke single out to right field. I mean, this guy's 6'6" frame, T. This guy should be hitting 400 feet over the left field fence.
I freaking agree with you. You're not going to get no argument out of that.
The things with a lot of these players is they only focus on one aspect of their game. Either they're always in the batting cages. I really often, not often do I see a player really on the field practicing ground balls or like say Bryce Harper, for example, great hitter. But if we're just judging him off his fielding,
and we've always said that for years about
exactly.
his fielding.
But the thing with Bryce Harper is that he can bat. I mean, he's a power hitter and MVP season right now. So we're not talking about his fielding. But if you're there in the games, you see a pop fly right field, you still get a little nervous, and that's Bryce Harper over there. But the thing is, he's doing his job right now in the batter's box. But you have guys who are struggling in both the field, like Alec Bowm, and batting, both. You can't. You have to have at least one strong suit in order to be successful in the MLB. But I just want to go over an article by TC Zenka. You have Rhys Hoskins was placed on the 10-day injured list earlier when he was. Now he will undergo surgery to repair a tear in his lower abdomen. The earlier destination for his IL placement was a groin injury. The abdomen issue was pre-existing. So even though he's injured with the groin, you have to rule it abdomen because that's what he's getting surgery for.
But either way,
it's a major loss.
Yeah, it's a huge major loss, and it also decreases your chances once again of making the playoffs. Even if Rhys Hoskins was able to play, it still wouldn't change my mind.
Right, he comes back, hits 2 home runs in one game,
which is freaking amazing.
That would definitely change my mind. I mean, if I had a gut feel right now about the Phillies making the playoffs, probably not. I mean, I want them to, but if I had somebody put a gun on my head and say, "Hey, listen, are the Phillies making the playoffs?" I'm going to say probably not because they're just too inconsistent of a team, and that's the major flaw that they've had all season long. So for me, do I have positives? Do I have reasons to believe? I think so, yeah. But what I've seen in 100 and how many games did they play? 120 some, 130, whatever it's been, 160. I don't know. Around there. What I've seen from them in that big of a sample size is they aren't consistent enough to. I mean, they had that one stretch. It was that one stretch in this season they had where they won like 6 or 7 games, right? 8 games.
Right. That's when everybody was getting on the hype train.
Yeah, and it was like, okay, wow, okay, this is a team that hasn't put something like that together in how many years? Because we haven't made the playoffs in 10 years. So for me, once I saw that, I was like, okay, fine. But then they got back to the same old ways again, where they were being too inconsistent. And that's and people who don't think the team's going to make the playoffs, completely fine, completely understandable. I can't blame you. They haven't had any success in the past 10 years playoff wise. Why believe now? I think for me, and it's just not because I want to rub it in people's faces, but we know that Bryce Harper right now he's the best. I mean, if you want to argue Shohei Ohtani, fine, because he can pitch. But the top 3 player right now, Bryce Harper's on that list.
I'm not going to deny that, but it's you guys trying to convince me about the Phillies is almost the same as Tanner sending me Ben Simmons videos,
which I will never be doing again. It's just a different. This is just a different.
This is the next level, Ben Simmons.
Let me tell you something. You were wrong in that situation. You're going to be wrong in this situation. The Phillies aren't making the playoffs, buddy. We all have on some kind of Phillies gear right now, and you're going to be wrong. I hate to say this. Yeah, you're just gonna have to swallow your pride on this.
Prepare to eat your words.
And
all right, people. Well, listen. I will say this: first show in person back in a while.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully the people enjoyed it. I thought it went relatively well. For that first portion was a little ridiculous.
Yeah, we did. We're not even gonna talk about that.
I was fine.
Yeah, Max started touching shit, and that's when shit hit the fan.
Yeah, usually I shouldn't do that because I don't know what the hell any of this stuff does.
Exactly. I don't even know why you touching anything in the first damn place. Yeah. God damn.
I'm just here for entertainment purposes only.
All right.
We still got one more show until the birds fly off.
Right? Yes, we do. Next week. Yep.
One more show. So hope you guys enjoyed everything. I definitely expect me personally to be more prepared next time.
Hell yeah.
We'll definitely rock this out. But bear with us, everybody. Bear with us. It's not going to sound like this every single week.
No. We're going to make some improvements by next week. Definitely on that. All right, you guys been listening to this episode. You can always go to philly-experience.simplecast.com. Available on all major downloadable platforms: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, the entire shebang. Yes, we will improve. Max will learn how to set this shit up on his own.
Indeed, I'll try my best.
All right, he's not going to fuck anything up. That's the hope, at least.
Yeah, that's ludicrous. What the hell is going on?
Andrew McClutchin.
What's going on, everybody? You piece of Swiss cheese.